Hey everyone, Ken here with Ken's Creations and Product Reviews. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can properly calibrate and set your distance on your Silhouette Cameo to make sure you're getting pristine cuts and even better print than cuts than you might be already getting right now on your machines. Let's start in our Silhouette software. Now the print then cut calibration can be a little intimidating at first, but in a few easy steps you can calibrate your machine and get amazing cuts. Now a couple things to keep in mind: make sure you're in a well-lit area so your sensor can read the registration marks. Make sure you have enough time dedicated to this process because you don't want to stop in the middle and do lasting damage to your machine. And also make sure you have 8.5 by 11 cardstock. This is what the test page will print on, and you want to make sure you go ahead and position it on your mat exactly as seen in the Silhouette Studio software. We're going to go up to our Send to Silhouette option, and on the Start button you're going to right click and you're going to be given two options. You're going to see Calibration and Distance Adjustment. The calibration is for print and cut. This is going to go ahead and make sure your sensor is reading the registration marks and any of those white lines are eliminated. The distance adjustment is for distances of your cuts. So let's say you have a 2" by 2" rectangle, but it's actually cutting a 1" by 1". This is going to be a distance adjustment, and we'll show you later in the video how to do this calibration. Let's start with the print then cut calibration. This will bring up your test page that we're going to print. You're going to see all of these crosses with little green squares. Now the green squares are just on the test page as a reference. You won't actually print these. This is where you're going to put your blade in this area to make sure it reads the sensor marks. You're going to print a test page. Make sure you select your craft room printer, and then you want to make sure you go ahead and print this and place it exactly on the mat as you see it. Once that item is printed, you can go ahead and put it on your mat exactly as you see, and you're going to see on there that it has those registration marks, but not the green squares. So you're going to want a reference of the green squares on your computer because that's where you want your blade to be perfectly positioned, is within that green square. Go ahead and load the mat by aligning it with your blue line there and hit Load Cutting Mat. Now once this is done, we can go ahead and start the calibration process. On your Cameo or on your computer screen, you have the Move tools where you can move your blade up, down, left, and right. And we'll need to do this to make sure we line it up perfectly within that virtual green square right here. We're going to go ahead and use those Move tools to align this perfectly in that green square that you see on your screen. And then once that is done, you can go ahead and hit the calibration on your computer screen. This will read the 4 registration marks in that cross, and then once it is done, it will go ahead and cut somewhere on your test page, hopefully exactly on those black lines. Once you have finished that first one, we're going to go ahead and continue the process on every single calibration you see. So you're going to put it in that little green square, and then you want to go ahead and make sure you keep going all the way down on every single one to get a perfect calibration. Use your Move tools on your computer screen, as you can see on the screen right now, and this will go ahead and move your blade into perfectly those little green squares that you see on your computer. Hit the calibration button every single time. It will read it, and then it will go ahead and make the cuts. Now, based on the cuts, we'll determine if we need to make adjustments. Now, if it cut perfectly on your black crosses, you're done. However, if we need to make some adjustments, let me show you how. You're going to need a millimeter ruler. This will allow you to go ahead and measure from where the black cross printed to where your Cameo cut. Now take one of your calibrations and go ahead and measure the differences, and we'll make our adjustments. Now in the example on the screen, the black is where it printed and the gray is where it cut. So on our horizontal line, we actually need to adjust it down by 4 millimeters, and on our vertical line, we need to adjust it over by 1 millimeter. This will go ahead and tell the Cameo we need to calibrate it to these settings, and then all you need to do once you've done that is hit Exit Calibration, and it will save it for you. So the other calibration we'll take a look at is the distance adjustment. Now, the distance adjustment is needed when your Cameo is not lining up what's on screen. So for example, if you have a 2 by 2 square on your screen, but your Cameo is actually cutting maybe 1 1/4 by 1 1/4, you need to do the distance adjustment. It's going to use the vertical and horizontal lines on your test page, and then we'll need to measure those lines and go ahead and make adjustments based on what we see. You could either use the same print test page or print a new one with the AB 1 and 2. Now for the distance adjustment, I like to use a sketch pen so I can go ahead and see it when I'm using my ruler to measure. It makes a much better mark than the cut lines. I'm going to go ahead and put that into my Cameo machine and load my Cameo mat. Once it is loaded, I can go ahead and hit the cut test lines, and this will cut those lines on A and B and 1 and 2. Once again, using our millimeter ruler, we want to measure this. Start perfectly with the 0 at the A line and go all the way to see where the B line drew. Now in a perfect world, this should end up at 20 centimeters, which is 200 millimeters. But in this case, it actually ended up at the 201 millimeters. We want to write down that number because we will enter that later into our Silhouette Studio to make the adjustments. Let's go ahead and go to the vertical line, and this one once again lined up perfectly at that 0 with the 1 and going all the way down to where the other line is. Once again, we should be perfectly at a 20 centimeters, which is 200 millimeters. We're at 201 millimeters. We'll want to write that number down, and now we can go into Silhouette Studio software to make those adjustments. The adjustments are really easy in Silhouette Studio software. You're going to see the rulers between 1 and 2 and A and B, and you want this to match perfectly to what you saw on your ruler. So 201 centimeters would need to be adjusted to 201 centimeters. Hit exit, and this will save your settings. So with these two adjustments on your Silhouette Cameo, you will be amazed with the results. When I had my Silhouette Cameo for the first time, I was doing print and cuts and I was not pleased with my outcomes. However, once I realized I could calibrate and do a distance adjustment on the machine, I was amazed with the results and been very happy with the outcome of my cuts. So if you're about ready to return your machine because you're not getting the best cuts or print and cut, make sure to check out both the calibration and the distance measurement just to see if that might be an issue with your machine. Alright, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you're subscribing to this YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any tutorials, tips, or do-it-yourself projects. Make sure to check out my blog over at www.creativeken.com. Make sure to like and join my Facebook page, and also check me out on all my social media websites, including Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and many, many more. Anywhere I can be social, I want to be social with all of you guys. Alright everyone, I hope this helps you understand how to calibrate your Silhouette Cameo. I know it looks intimidating, but it's actually a really easy process and you will be amazed with the results. Whatever you guys end up doing with your machines, I hope you go out there and create something magical. Thanks so much for watching. Have an amazing day.